I grew up on a lot of cartoons. I grew up on a lot of shows. There was very little, if any, representation in media. Now, I was blessed enough to have a mother who knew about the systems of racism. So she educated me from a very young standpoint. I actually had a series of books with primarily black characters. So my mom did the work from an early age to fight the systems of racism so that I would have positive images. So I had a story, for example, of a Rapunzel story, which was a version of Rapunzel with a long braid. So from early on, my mom not only informed me about what the images that I would see in the outside world, but she did a good job in actively providing me those images. So if I were to turn on the TV, absolutely no representation. But my mom did a really great job of making sure that I had those images inside the house.
As a woman and watching how Black women are portrayed, throughout film and media. For women, it is an uphill battle from the moment you come into this world being born a woman. As I can speak as a white woman, I can't imagine what it is like for a woman of color, especially when I think they're definitely portrayed as the help or, mostly that, where they're in these service to other people roles forever. I've had the fortunate experience of being at a table of like marketing, in marketing conversations where my team's all female and our clients are all male, and they say to us in a meeting, a professional meeting, it's so hard for me to even say it, but so is everyone you hire attractive? Right? And you're gonna lose the job if you snap back. Or women are always portrayed as like these bitchy, snipey, sort of like ta-ta. But when you're constantly put down all of the time or things are said like that, at a certain point you get to a breaking point.
I've definitely heard that argument a lot of, you have Barack, you have Oprah out there, you have LeBron, Michael Jordan celebrated and loved. And those are a handful of people. Black people, I believe, is 13% of this population of America. How many of us are actually living above the poverty line? How many of us are in corporate America and have executive jobs, or actually making laws? How many of us are in politics in the sense where we're actually changing laws? Not a lot of us. So every now and then when you get a few people that kind of stand out and make it, in the sense, it's, oh, you're good, you're happy now. That's not even a quarter of 1% of our population. Every now and then, people are gonna do, or they're gonna survive and get out there and do great things. That doesn't represent the vast majority of people who are just still struggling to be seen as human beings. Doesn't represent everybody's reality, and I think that's why we give so much love and admiration to the LeBron James and Oprahs and Barack, because there's not a lot of us up there. There's not a lot of us doing things that we actually want to do and being celebrated for it. So every time we get a chance to be in those positions, it's a little bit of a win for us. Like, we made it somewhere. That's not the vast majority of our population. A lot of us are still being oppressed. Well, everybody, we're all still being oppressed in different ways. And just because you have money, same thing with LeBron James. Just because you have money, people still spray the N-word or in front of his gate in a house in California. No matter how rich you are, you're still just a black man in this country. So just because we have a few people who are doing well, doesn't mean the vast majority of people have the same opportunities as everybody else. In our communities, we don't always have that.
In the black culture, beauty is shown a lot through how we dress. But with the white community, I feel like it's more like professional, like in suits and dresses. Like, that would be considered beauty. Like, if you see a magazine, what do you see? If it's not urban, it would be someone probably in a suit, in a dress. If you see an urban magazine, you might see somebody like me with the t-shirt with words on it, some jeans, some cut-up jeans. My grandmother, who told me that she could only wear skirts at one point in time, which I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about it. But as a woman, she could only wear skirts. And then even fast forward to me as an adult working, at one point in time, we could wear dress clothes, and of course, I took it to another level, which kind of made me feel like I was the reason why they changed the dress code, but I have no clue for sure. It was nationwide thing. We had to end up wearing all black slacks and a black collar shirt. And it hasn't happened to me, but I know of other people that couldn't wear an afro. They would have to have their hair straight or back in a ponytail, which naturally a majority of our hair is not straight.
Again, being a black entrepreneur, a young black entrepreneur, and I'm talking to other entrepreneurs and other black folks who are in business, and it tends to be that way. We don't tend to see the scale factor, right? We don't tend to see, it can be bigger than this. It's, you have a little business because you're just trying to survive, eat, and provide for yourself. We don't think about building that generational wealth. And a lot of it is because we don't know about it. We don't know how to scale. We're not getting funding to open a second store or a third store and do this and do that. We're not getting investors coming in and saying, hey, I like what you're doing here. Let me help you make things a little bit better for you. We're not getting a lot of that. So a lot of times when people grow up and you see your grandparents have a little, corner store here and there, you think that's it. They have the store, they have the little business, that's it. It's so much more. I'm learning about entrepreneurship and venture capitalism and all that good stuff, and I'm seeing a lot of us don't get funding. I forgot the stat, but it was less than 5% of venture capitalist money went to actually black entrepreneurs. We're not being supported in that way either, where on an economic standpoint, where a lot of problems are rooted, we're not given those opportunities to scale and to grow and have wealth so we can provide for our communities, so we can continue to make our communities better. So if we can't provide for our communities and the city or the state is not providing for our communities, who will? And that's, again, comes back to the root of the problem is the opportunities aren't there to expand, the knowledge isn't there, and we are not being taught any of that stuff. We just kind of have to figure it out and hope for the best.
You ask somebody, hey, imagine an inventor, imagine an astronaut, imagine and insert any profession. Every single image that is not representative of that type of character plays into the system of racism. We, as young black men, don't see ourselves as some of these roles unless we're actively shown it. It's not part of the quote unquote status quo. It's not normal. It wasn't until I got older where I realized I had a very abnormal upbringing because I was shown these images. It's why I've been blessed to have a positive self-image of myself and my blackness. I've been fortunate enough to be able to be exposed to those images, being shown those stories, reading those stories, but I also see the absence of those stories. I see the absence in those stories in terms of, I'll stick with inventors because my focus is always STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts and math, and we don't see images of people, not just in church, but hey, who are top 10 inventors? People imagine these white faces. And that's what happens. That's how racism kind of just seeps in. These images are key. The images and representation are key to the cornerstone of why racism is so powerful.